Hi there, these are your nervous and endocrine system notes. Let's begin with just the nervous system. We start with the 3 body parts first, and the nervous system is going to include one big important body part, first of all, is the brain. The second one would be your spinal cord. And think about the name of the system, the nervous system. So it's going to include all your nerves. And also be aware that nerves are made of nerve cells, but they have a special name. They're called neurons. 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 Neurons are also called nerve cells, as I just said. Let's look over at your diagram here of where these body parts are in your body. Okay, so of course we have the brain. Let's label it. The spinal cord. And all your nerves that come off of the spinal cord. I'm going to go all down into your legs, all the way to your toes, to your fingertips, up into your neck and your head. Okay, those are the 3 body parts. The neurons make up all of your network of nerves in your body. These nerves are connected to your spinal cord, which lead to your brain. Neurons, they carry messages called a nerve impulse. Picked up by your senses. So your 5 senses are always picking up different stimuli around you because it needs to make sure you're being warned if it's a dangerous or harmful thing around you to be aware of and to respond quickly. Picked up by your 5 senses and are sent to the brain. So your brain can interpret the message and make a decision for your body and how to respond. The decision that your brain makes is called the response. So the nervous system is all about stimuli and response. Stimulus and response, depending on if it's singular or plural or not. Neurons do not touch each other. They do not touch each other. The nerve impulse jumps across to each neuron by chemicals being released. The space between the neurons is called a synapse, and that's spelled SYNAPSE. Neurons do not touch each other. The nerve impulse jumps across to each neuron by chemicals being released. The space between neurons is called a synapse. Let's go down to look at this picture of what a neuron looks like, a nerve cell. So remember the brain of every cell. The center of the cell is the nucleus. So let's label that. Here's a nucleus. We have the dendrites, which are those hair-like extensions around the nucleus, and then it has this tail coming out. These are called axons. And then it has these other crazy extensions down here off the tail, off the axons. These are called axon tips. It's not essential that you know right now in 7th grade what an the parts of a neuron. Just I want you to be familiar with it so you can kind of understand a little bit more, and that all animal cells don't look like a circular object. They're not all circles, they're blobs. Remember, they don't have a cell wall to keep their structure, so they look different depending on their functions. So this is a nerve cell, a neuron. It looks totally different than what you studied, but it'll still have the same structures, the organelles inside it, as you're familiar with the nucleus, but it has like a tail in this one. So like I said, neurons don't touch each other. There's always a tiny minimal space in between called a synapse. And when you get a nerve impulse from your five senses, it quickly goes through each neuron, jumps across because chemicals are being released to go to the next one, and goes all the way to your brain to make a decision, and then comes back down. Always traveling in, when it goes through the dendrites. I forgot. This is called the cell body. The part where the nucleus is at, it's the cell body, and then goes to the axons and the axon tips, and then over to the next neuron, and so forth. So let's do a little flow map of what happens when your senses pick up all the stimuli around you. So senses pick up a nerve impulse. The nerve impulse travels to your spine. Then up to your brain. Then the brain receives a nerve impulse and makes a decision. Once that decision is made by your brain about how to handle that nerve impulse, it sends the response back down the spine. The nerve impulse reaches your nerves and you react. Nerve impulses are lightning fast. They travel as fast as 120 meters per second. So think about how long 1 meter stick is, and it'd be 120 of those lined up that it can make such a fast decision. So it can go through 120 of those. Your nerve impulses can travel that fast in 1 second, because it's important that your brain makes a quick decision so you can have faster reflexes. It protects you. All right, so let's go with the functions of the nervous system. So number one function is that it receives information. About what is happening both inside and outside of your body. Receives information. An example would be a baseball is pitched and coming straight for you. So you've received the information. Now that nerve impulse is going to go up to your brain, so that way you can make a decision how to respond to a baseball that's being pitched and coming straight for you. Number two, it directs the way in which your body responds to the information. Example, you keep your eyes on the baseball and swing the bat to hit it. Now, is everyone going to have the same decision made by their brains? No. There's lots of other decisions to be made as well. Maybe your brain says, okay, just make it a bunch. Okay, don't swing at all. Or maybe it says to move out of the way or close your eyes. It just depends on what your brain is trained to do. Number three, it controls all the body systems to respond to stimuli and keep our bodies in homeostasis. Keeping our bodies in balance. So controls all the body systems to respond to stimuli and keep our bodies in homeostasis. Because it's the brain, and the brain controls all the body systems. So it's always going to be working with all the body systems to keep us in balance. So it sends messages throughout the body to fix problems before they get too big and organs stop functioning properly. Stop functioning. Because that would be a dangerous situation. We need our organs to function properly, or our body starts shutting down and not working. An example, if you're dehydrated, your nervous system directs you to take a drink of water by you feeling thirsty. Okay, so there's your nervous system notes, and we're actually going to go straight into the endocrine system notes. Okay, so let's go to those. Endocrine notes. Okay, so endocrine system. It is going to be your glands that give off hormones. And when I say hormones, a lot of people think, oh, we're just going to be talking about puberty. But no, it's not. There's lots of other things that your glands do besides your growth and development. So number one function, let's fill this in right here. Okay, controls daily activities of the body. I mean, this is like blood pressure, sleep, water balance. We could go on and on forever talking about more examples, but just to give you some examples. But yeah, your endocrine system controls daily activities of the body. Another function is it controls long-term changes in the body. Long-term changes in the body. This is your development. So those are the two functions. I'll give you just a few minutes here, or a minute to make sure you have that written in. Of course, you can always pause it, but I'm going to move on to the parts of here. I'm going to go to this this tree map right here, and the number one body part that it has. These are going to be all of our glands. Let's write that up here. And I'm actually going to highlight because I don't want you to forget that that is what it's talking about here. The endocrine system are your glands. And I'm probably going to turn my iPad sideways to be able to write these in. I don't know, maybe we can write them in. I'll try to write them in, fit them in. I'll write really small. Okay. So some of these have big names. Let me find my diagram. Is it in here? Yes. Okay. So the hypothalamus is the first one I'm going to write in. So I'm going to spell it for you. It's HYPO. I have to go with a really small. Okay. Hypo. HYPO THALAMUS. Hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is found in your brain. And I think what we might do is just I was trying to think about, we'll write a little function here. The hypothalamus, it connects nervous and endocrine systems. Okay, so it's found in our brain. Another one that's found in our brain is the pituitary gland, and I'm actually going to do a different color just so it's easier to see. We'll go back to the blue. Okay, so it's the pituitary. PITUITARY. The pituitary controls your growth, blood pressure, and water balance. I just think it's beneficial to you to know what some of your glands do. It's not something that I'm going to make you responsible for memorizing necessarily, but it's good to practice and know a little bit about what your glands do. Okay, the third one I want to talk about is called the parathyroid gland. Oh, actually, it's just the thyroid. Let's do thyroid first. Thyroid is ThyroID. The thyroid, it's in your neck, and it controls your metabolism. Like how fast your body can break down your food and use the calories that you've eaten. The next one is the parathyroid. And it's like in your chest area above your heart. PARATHYROID. The parathyroid. And it controls amounts of calcium in your body. Controls the amounts of calcium in your body. Okay, the next one is the thymus. And the thymus helps the cells in the immune system. The immune system is not one that we study, but we tend to always know a little bit about it because we know it helps fight infections in our body. Thymus helps cells in the immune system. Okay, next one. The adrenal glands. The adrenal glands, they sit in your lower back, one above each kidney, because your kidneys are in your lower back. And so you have an adrenal gland above each kidney. What they do is help you to respond to emergency situations. Okay, so the adrenal glands help body in emergency situations. So they release the chemical, the hormone called adrenaline that helps you with times of when you're anxious or excited or scared. All right. The next one is going to be the pancreas. The pancreas, Pancreas. The pancreas is going to be found in the endocrine and digestive system. And what it does is it controls your levels of glucose. So your sugars that are released in your body. Okay. Yeah, so all of these glands are in everybody, male and female, but there are two glands that are different for males and different for females, and they're going to play a big part in your development. So let's go with the females. The females will have ovaries, Ovaries. Ovaries. And their job is to release the hormone estrogen, which controls the development of the eggs that she's born with. Ovaries release estrogen, and it controls the development of the eggs. For males, they have testes or testicles, but we will refer to them as testes. There's two. And well, the females have two ovaries, one on the right, one on the left, and the males have testes. We will talk more about ovaries and testes in the reproductive system, which will be at the end of our body systems. They release the hormone testosterone. I'll spell testosterone for you. testosterone. And it is for sperm production. All right, so in homeostasis for the endocrine system, there is something that in our bodies called negative feedback. Negative feedback. So these glands are going to give off hormones, which are chemicals, and these chemicals are released in the bloodstream, and the blood takes the hormone where it needs to go to a target. It's called target cells, and these target cells will recognize the chemical that it goes with it. Not all targets, not all cells can receive certain hormones, so only the target cells will. And you don't want these hormones just always being in your blood. They're only released at certain times and certain amounts, so that way that your body stays functioning properly. You're not growing too tall, too much, or your blood pressure stays in balance, your calcium levels are good, your glucose levels stay right. So we have something called negative feedback in our body. It lets the body know when a particular hormone, so fill that in next, when a particular hormone has reached a certain level in the blood. The endocrine system then sends a signal to stop the release of that hormone. So that way you have just the right amount in your blood at the time that your brain says to send it, and shuts it off when it gets to a certain level. Especially like with the adrenal glands, with the hormone adrenaline, you do not want that too much all the time in your blood, because it really pays a toll on your blood pressure and your heart, because your heart will pump really a lot faster, harder during those times you have adrenaline release, and you can't just continue having that. It's going to be harder on your heart. So the negative feedback shuts down the gland and turns it off when the hormone reaches a certain level in the blood. That's a good thing. Okay, let's do a diagram. This one came with a word bank, and it already had something called the pineal gland, and I just added it. It's in the brain, and it releases melatonin, which regulates reproductive hormones. Also, like melatonin, as you know, helps your sleep patterns. Okay, so let's label where these glands are, just so you have an idea. So this is going to be the pituitary. Come on, picture. Pituitary. The pituitary in your brain, as well as the hypothalamus. 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 You have the thyroid gland. In your neck area. You also, the parathyroid is going to be here too. Do you feel that pulled up? They don't have the parathyroid on here, but we can add it in. the parathyroid is going to be in the same area as your thyroid. So we can just go ahead and put a label in there. Why not? Parathyroid. Because it is listed on our thinking map on the other side. Parathyroid. And like I said, you also have the thymus that's labeled. The thymus is one that's in your chest. If I said that wrong earlier, I'm sorry. The thymus is in your chest area, like above your heart. These right here, these are your kidneys, and they do sit in, like I said, in your back area. So these are your adrenal glands. This is your pancreas, which controls your glucose levels. Now, what they did on this one is they didn't have two different diagrams, one for female and male, because all the glands are going to be the same except one. So they just put both on here so you can get an idea where they're located in the body. So in her, this is for the females right here. These are her ovaries. This is all of her reproductive parts in here that we will label later, but all you need to know is that the ovaries are the circular objects right here. Those are her ovaries. Only in females. And then this is males, the testes, which are located outside of his body because of temperature reasons, and I'll talk more about that in reproductive, but those are his testes. Only in males. Okay, so there are your glands. They give off hormones. That's the endocrine system. Like I said, which right here, your functions controls your daily activities of the body and long-term changes in the body, like development, like puberty or growth. All right, so there's your nervous endocrine systems. Both of them involve structures, body parts in the brain. So they have the hypothalamus, which connects both of them so they can talk to each other and control different hormone levels in the blood and different actions that the brain needs to respond to. All right. Please keep these filed into your ISN. Read over them, listen to this again, and thank you. Why does it say it's recording?